It was supposed to be the happiest season of her life. She had the ring, the mansion, and the man every woman in Lagos dreamt of, Dimeji Adenuga, the young billionaire with charm, power, and an empire spanning oil and fintech. But what happens when the man you gave your all to tosses you out like yesterday's trash, while you're 9 months pregnant with his child? Maya didn't see it coming. How could she? She had loved him. She had built him. But what she didn't know was that Dimeji had a dark heart and even darker secrets. But life has its way of returning full circle. And when Maya returned, she came not just with power, but with someone wealthier, more dangerous, and far more strategic than the man who betrayed her. This is not just a story of betrayal. This is a story of a woman who rose from abandonment to become the storm that changed everything. Maya Ajibila was not born rich, but she was born with something far more valuable: grit. Raised in a cramped 2-bedroom flat in Ajiganol by a widowed mother who sold roasted corn by the roadside, Maya knew the taste of hunger. But she also knew the power of vision. From the moment she turned 16, she set her eyes on a better life. Scholarships, part-time jobs, late-night reading, she earned her first degree in marketing with distinction. It was during her youth service year in Abuja that she met Dimeji. He arrived in a sleek black Bentley, flanked by 2 assistants. Dimeji Adenuga, tech mogul, oil tycoon, and heartbreaker. Maya was just one of many NYSC coppers assigned to help organize a tech conference. She didn't expect him to notice her. But he did. He liked the fire in her eyes, the way she asked direct questions during his keynote speech. He liked that she didn't swoon like the others. Within weeks, he had her in his inner circle, first as an intern, then as a personal assistant. And then, something more. By the time Maya was 25, she was living in Banana Island, flying private jets, then sleeping in silk sheets. Dimeji spoiled her: Chanel bags, Dubai vacations, dinner in London. But it wasn't just the luxury. Maya believed he saw her. That he respected her mind. She helped restructure his PR team, saving him millions in brand damage after a data leak scandal. She crafted marketing strategies that tripled his company's online traction. But through all of it, she remained in the background, the quiet, unofficial fiancée, never introduced at corporate events. Then came the pregnancy. She had just hit her 3rd trimester when Dimeji changed. He started coming home late, locking his phone, traveling without notice. When she asked questions, he turned cold. "I never asked you to get pregnant," he spat one night. "But we planned this." "You said." "I said a lot of things, Maya. That doesn't mean I meant them." That night, she cried for hours. She told herself he was stressed. That it was a phase. But the breaking point came one rainy Thursday evening. She was 9 months pregnant. The house help had taken a break. Maya had cooked his favorite, ifo riro and pounded yam, and lit candles around the room. She was trying to save whatever was left. When he came in, he didn't even sit. "I need you to leave," he said. She blinked. "Excuse me." "You had me." "Pack your things. I've arranged for a car. You can stay at one of my guest houses, just not here." Maya couldn't move. "Dimeji. I'm about to give birth." "You'll manage," he said coldly. "Or go to your mother. This arrangement is over." "You knew the terms." "Terms?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I gave you everything. My time. My body. My career. I built your brand." He laughed dryly. "Let's not exaggerate. You were convenient, Maya. Beautiful, smart, but ultimately replaceable." She felt her world crack. The last thing she remembered was standing in the rain, barefoot, clutching her swollen belly as the mansion gates shut behind her. Her phone buzzed. A message from her best friend, Sod. Come to my place. Now. That night, she slept on a mattress on the floor in Soda's cramped apartment in Lekki. She went into labor the next morning. 3 years later ***. Maya stood in front of a towering glass skyscraper, her reflection now almost unrecognizable. Gone was the timid girl with pain in her eyes. She wore confidence now, like a second skin. A fitted navy blue suit hugged her frame. Her heels clicked powerfully on the marble floor as she entered the conference room. Inside sat several men, all powerful. All rich. But one stood out. Andre Kalu, CEO of a West African logistics and crypto conglomerate. Net worth, triple the images. Nigerian-born, UK-trained, brutally intelligent. And sitting beside him was Maya. She was no longer a PA. No longer a discarded girlfriend. She was his business partner. And today, they were launching a groundbreaking venture, an AI logistics platform projected to disrupt the Nigerian transport sector. And they had just bought out Demeji's largest competitor, his own cousin's firm. As the press surged forward, Maya smiled for the cameras. That night, at the gala, Demeji approached her. He was visibly rattled. "You've changed," he said, bitterness dripping from his tone. "I grew," Maya replied. "Is he your man now?" Demeji asked, gesturing at Andre. Maya smirked. "He's my partner. In every way that matters." "And what about the baby?" She tilted her head. "He's doing well. And no, you don't get to meet him. You had your chance." Demeji's jaw clenched. Maya leaned closer. "You kicked me out because you thought I had nowhere to go. But the thing about women like me, we build empires even in ashes." She turned and walked away. The media picked up the moment. Ex-fiancé returns as billionaire's business rival. The headlines were everywhere. But to Maya, it wasn't about revenge. It was about rediscovery. She had found her strength. Her voice. Her place. And the world was only just beginning to hear her story. Maya barely slept the night after the launch gala. Not because of nerves, no, those days were long behind her, but because of clarity. As she watched her son, little Liam, sleep soundly in his cot beside her bed, she reflected on how far she had come. She hadn't just survived Demeji's betrayal. She had transformed it into fuel. Her partnership with Andre wasn't born from pity, it was born from vision. Andre had been the only investor who didn't flinch when she first pitched her business idea 2 years ago. While others dismissed her as the ex of that billionaire, Andre saw her for what she truly was: sharp, creative, and relentless. But Andre had his reasons too. He had been burned by Demeji before, in a business deal that cost him millions and nearly ruined his father's legacy. Joining forces with Maya wasn't just a business strategy, it was poetic justice. Yet something deeper had begun to grow between them. Over late-night strategy sessions and co-parenting support, Andre loved children, a soft, respectful connection bloomed. He never pushed. He never judged. He simply listened, encouraged, and empowered. And Maya. For the first time, she was free to be her full self, not an accessory, not a kept woman, but a force. One morning, as they stood on the balcony of their company's new HQ overlooking the bustling streets of Lagos Island, Andre turned to her. "You ever think about what would have happened if Demeji hadn't thrown you out?" Maya sipped her coffee and smiled. "Then I'd still be in a cage, gilded as it may have been." Andre nodded. "Funny how pain births purpose. Sometimes the best revenge," she said, "is not vengeance, but victory." Demeji, meanwhile, was unraveling. His reputation had taken a hit. Investors were pulling out. The media was speculating about insider leaks. And worse, he couldn't shake the headlines comparing him to the very woman he abandoned. He tried to stage a comeback, a flashy launch event, a hastily patched PR campaign, even a public declaration of interest in reconciliation. But Maya didn't flinch. When a journalist asked her during a press interview what she would say to Dimeji if given the chance, she paused, and then answered, "Thank you. It stunned everyone. Because if he hadn't thrown me out, I might never have found my true strength. Sometimes, being broken is how you're remade." The hall was silent as Maya stepped up to the podium. She was the keynote speaker at the Global Women in Business Summit in Accra, the same stage she once dreamed of standing on back when she was just a silent partner behind Dimeji's spotlight. Now, she wasn't just standing on that stage. She owned it. She shared her story, not to shame anyone, but to empower. Her voice didn't shake. Her eyes didn't flinch. She told the truth of betrayal, abandonment, childbirth in poverty, and the slow but steady rise back to power. But the audience gasped when she said, "I didn't rise alone. I rose because I stopped waiting to be rescued." That line trended across African social media for weeks. After the summit, Maya returned to Lagos and took Liam to visit her mother, now living in a beautiful bungalow she bought her in Lekki. As Liam played in the garden, Maya sat beside her mother, who smiled quietly. "You've changed," Mama said. "I had to," Maya whispered. "You didn't become bitter. That's what surprises me." Maya looked up. "There's no time for bitterness when your child needs strength. And when other women are watching to see if you'll make it." One afternoon, Maya received an unexpected package. Inside was a handwritten note from Dimeji. "I made mistakes. I see that now. If there's any chance of peace, for the sake of Liam, I hope we can talk." She stared at it for a long moment, then folded it and placed it in her drawer, unopened, and read beyond that first line. "Forgiveness doesn't always mean re-entry." Maya and Andre's company went on to expand across 3 countries. Their logistics hybrid changed delivery systems across West Africa, and Maya was named one of Forbes Africa's Women to Watch. But more than that, she became a quiet force in mentoring young female entrepreneurs. She built an incubator for women-led businesses, funded entirely from her shares, called Remade, in honor of the woman she had to become. Maya's story wasn't about revenge. It was about rebirth. She didn't come back to prove Dimeji wrong. She came back to prove herself right. She had been kicked out at her most vulnerable, pregnant, alone, and heartbroken. But she returned not just with wealth, not just with power. She returned with purpose. And sometimes, that's richer than any man.